Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy 245, and this is Module 2 and Part 4 of our series on creating a bouncing ball and rolling to a stop animation. So right now we're at the point where we need to actually rotate the ball, and it needs to be in the direction that it is rolling. So rotating in this direction, which is the z-axis. So we're going to concentrate on that rolling here. And it's also going to be a negative value. Okay, so it's going to be a negative roll. So we're going to start with Z. Go ahead and highlight. Make sure you're on frame 0. Highlight that. And we're just going to go ahead and start a keyframe right there. So we've got keyframes now that are not particularly on the translate value, okay, but we're going to translate, we're going to rotate now, not translate, rotate this ball moving forward now. Okay, so I'm going to go to frame 6 and just start the rotation, and this one will be a negative 180. So negative 180. So that's how I'm going to animate this, and try to keep it as cohesive as possible. So you see that rotation value of that. So it's rotating at a certain speed. Okay. Now, for the first frame, it's supposed to move to 6. So let's go to 1. And this translate, for some reason, it's translate 0 should have been at 0. So I'm gonna make that change right here. I can see that somehow that got messed up. I got to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. So a translate X was not keyframe properly, and then translate 6 here was keyframe properly. So I'm good to go now. So you can see that rotation now value is looking good. I like that. That's a good rotation value. And then 14 again, I'm just going to double that to 360. So now I'm going to double this to 360. Okay. And keyframe that. So I'm just going to kind of look at it and see how that looks. That looks looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to continue that process of doubling it until it doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to go to frame 23, and 23 is negative 540. Not quite doubling it. Let's go ahead and 540. Maybe that is doubling it. 540, negative 540 on that. And that seems to work. So we've got that. So boom, boom, okay. And then frame 30. So frame 30, let's see, what do we got? Frame 30, we've got negative 720. Okay, negative 720. So we're adding 180 degrees for each one of these. Okay, I think that's my formula for this. There we go. Yep, and that seems to work pretty good. It's definitely making a difference in how it looks. It's pretty crazy how that bouncing and rotation value really makes the ball come to life. Okay, so we're going to continue that process and adding 180 degrees. So at frame 36, we're going to go ahead and type in negative 900 and keyframe that one, and then just continue on down the line from 900 to 1080. And frame 47, we're going to go to 1260. And then we're going to continue down to frame 51, which is 1440, negative 1440. Okay, and we're going to keyframe that. Continue down to 55, and then it'll be 1620, negative 1620. Keyframe that, and then move on down to frame 59, and that'll be 1800, negative 1800. And we'll keyframe that, and continue down to 62, which will be negative 1980. Key select that, and then frame 65 will be 2160, negative 2160. There we go. And make sure you keyframe that. If you forget to keyframe, then the rotational value will start looking weird, and it's obvious you missed something. So go back and watch my video if you are missing something. Okay. Now it looks like it flipped around here. So let's find out what happened here. So let's go to the next keyframe. Frame 54, 1800, 1900, negative 2100, and so I'm going to play it. Okay, good. So I'm going to place it what we have so far. Okay, all right. So let's see here, so 59. Okay, looks like it's going pretty good. So we got rotation of values here, and then 65 to, so 65 should be negative 2160, and that's what it is. So we're going to go to frame 58, and then I've got frame 68, I'm sorry. I've got 2340 on that. 2340 on that. Key selected. And then when it rolls, that's when it gets a little crazy. From 68 to 83. It's negative, what I have here, I calculated 2571.909. Alright, so I'm going to type that in, negative 2571, so 2571.909. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter and then a key select. So you can see that rotational value fits. So I had to calculate that by hand. Manually calculate that one, which was tough because, so once we get to 80, what is it, 83, okay, 83 calculated. Okay, so now we're going to move down to 94, which is going to rotate to a stop, which is negative 2662. Negative 2662.205 and enter, and key selected that, and then we're done. All right, so let's take a look at what we got so far. All right, so that looks kind of crazy, but let's take a look without the arrows, okay? So we're going to turn off the arrows by clicking off. So I've got the layers, open. So I want to take the arrows off and just see the ball and see how it's reacting. So let's go ahead and play the animation. That looks pretty good. The arrows make it look kind of bizarre. The only thing I don't like is that little speed up right there. Right there. That's the only part that looks odd to me. That little speed up right there. Let's find out what's going on there. Just sped up too much. Okay. Speed duration on that is kind of odd. All right, so at this point, I do want to look at, let's go into this again and let's click on that. And I think it's time to add a motion curve, okay, a motion track, and or motion trail, I should say. So we want to track the motion of this, and we can add a motion trail, which is kind of cool. I'm going to get the Q key, kind of rotate around here, and I'm going to play the animation. The part that I don't like, I can fix. Okay. I just think it's just kind of going too fast right there. It just seems to be a little bit. Okay. It's like a hiccup right there. All right. So adding a motion trail. Okay. So we are going to select the, let's see, the translate, rotate, translate, rotate. Let's try just selecting that and see what we can get from that. So we're going to go to make sure we're on animation, which we are, and then go to visualize, create editable motion trail, and everything's set up properly. So I'm going to click on that. So now you can see where we're at here. And see where the indiscretion is. Let's go in here to the side view. So I'm going to go to the, front view, and go to the area that looks odd. And why does it look odd? I have to kind of figure that out. So I'm going to take off that, just so we can see the ball. I'm going to hit the 5 key so we can see it. L6 key for the color. And go ahead and play it and just kind of focus on that one area. It's just too fast there. And that would be in the X, right? Just speeds up too much in the that right between here and there. So what I want to do is, watching this, I know it's right here, so I'm going to stop it. And that does help us because we can do this, make editable changes in this motion curve we have here, right? So if this is too fast, then we need to give it more time. Okay, more time in here. So before I make changes, okay, you always want to save your work, and you probably should have been saving your work in between each one of these videos. I haven't been doing it, so you probably haven't been doing it. So let's go ahead and go to File, save scene as, and you want to go ahead and you don't want to save over top of this, of course. That would be crazy. You want to save in an incremental saves. I think you all know that. And I haven't been telling you that, but you probably should know to do that. But if you didn't, that's not a problem. If you lost everything and starting over with the videos, probably not something you want to do. So you want to incrementally save, whether I tell you or not, in the videos. So let's go ahead and roll to a stop, and let's call this, and this should probably be save number 04. Honestly, if we're being honest with each other, that should be our fourth one since it's the fourth video. So I'm going to go ahead and roll to a stop 4. Okay. So incrementally save. If you make a mistake, you can go back to the earlier version. Okay, so now that I got that saved, now we can kind of experiment, and I'm going to move this forward a little bit, like that, to give it more time, and this to give it more time, okay? All right, so let's take a look at it now. Now, is that working, or should it be like this? Maybe giving it less time, or maybe less space. Like that. Oh, that's better. Giving it less space. Much better. Let's get a little closer to that and see how that looks. Okay, that looks better. All right, so let's stop the animation and let's move into perspective view and rotate around and see how that looks now. And now that we have the motion trail, we can kind of make adjustments there, and that looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. There we go. All right, we're done with that part, and we'll come back into the next video when I'm going to show you how to add the squash and stretch to this. Now that we've got the timing, and we've got the spacing, and all that stuff that we need, you can finesse that. Any of the spacing that you see might be a little bit weird, you can finesse all that stuff on the fly with the motion trail, just like what I showed you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and I'll see you in the next video.